I'm study sales, but I can say that sale is not about selling. Indeed, it's more about helping the customer to make smart decisions. So yeah, I think that sometimes the role of the sellers is underestimated. I think the role of the seller is huge. Of course, it's about how you help people and how you help people to achieve not only business objective, personal ambition as well. So yeah, I think my recommendation is don't stop to study, read, ask, and challenge. Challenge all of the things that happen in your company. Most of the people don't challenge the business process or the sales process, or never say, why we use consultative selling? What is the limitation of this process? So yeah, use your critical thinking.
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes. And welcome to the Sales Today podcast, where I am delighted to be joined by Diego Ramirez, all the way from Peru. Hola, Diego. ¿Qué tal?
Hola, Fred. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really glad to be here and talk about sales.
And you're not really all the way from Peru, are you? You are from Warwick Business School.
Absolutely. I came here a year ago to the UK to study MBA in Warwick Business School. So yeah, I'm here for a year. Nice. It's really nice.
Whilst there, your dissertation subject was about sales processes, wasn't it? And sales
Absolutely.
processes in knowledge-intensive business. So just explain what the dissertation is about, because that's where I want to talk, because it's interesting.
Yeah, right. First of all, I'm studying MBA here and I specialize in sales because I love sales. So I have more than 13 years in work experience leading commercial teams and implementing commercial strategies. So when I'm started to study in the MBA, I'm specialized in sales. I took all these sales elective, sales excellence, negotiation. I'm realized there is a huge gap between academia and the real world. So that's why I'm choose study how companies choose sales methodologies. But understand why see one of the industries, relevant industries that represent 40% of the employees in just in Europe, that is the knowledge intensive business services. That it's the very academic term to explain that professional services, right?
Okay, so knowledge intensive business services.
Right.
And so we would tend to say professional services. So we're talking lawyers, accountants, architects.
Right, absolutely. The simple way to understand the knowledge intensive business services or KIBS, KIBS, is like they sell knowledge, experience, and judgment, right? So there are three different types of knowledge intensive business services. One is the professional services like consulting, law, accounting firms. There are technological KIBS like engineers services, like R&D companies. Of course, the last one is the creative companies, you know, like marketing agencies and all of them.
Okay. Right. So when we talked before and we were kind of looking at the summary of this, you were talking professional services. My brain kept going to engineering, and I'm thinking this stuff, these challenges that these guys have that you've uncovered and you've researched, absolutely it's for them. And so anybody listening from any of those will say, well, they'll either tell us, yes, you're right, or no, I've solved that.
Yeah.
Either way, we want to hear from you. If you've solved it, Diego wants to talk to you. If you've not, well, he maybe has some ideas. But tell us, what were the challenges that you have found that people in this, the KIBS, have?
Well, as I mentioned before, it's the industry is relevant. You know, just in Europe, 40% of the world is come from this industry. So what happened with AI or new technologies? When new technologies appear, disrupt the business model. So right now, currently, all this industry is transforming the business model. So it's relevant to study what happened in this field and identify the challenge, basically. One of them is that the first one is that many of these companies need to instead to sell just knowledge, they need to change the way that they sell the knowledge. So they need to create software or use algorithms to sell now the knowledge, and not only knowledge. I want to invite your audience to imagine this industry like a big onion, right? It's an onion with layers. The first layer is the knowledge. So the only way that you can get the knowledge is reading, go to the university, study, and all of the things. The second layer of this industry is the insights, right? So the insight is the ability or capability that you have to create new knowledge. So when you read something and you study something and then you go to the environment or the context, you start to create new knowledge, right? So you process the data. And the third one, and I think is the core of the knowledge intensive business services, is the judgment. So in the easy way to understand that is just the expertise. So if you want to learn how to cook or prepare a cake, it's not enough to go to YouTube and watch a lot of videos about that. You need to do it, right? So the only way that you can get judgment is doing. So yeah.
Okay, right. So yeah, because knowledge and insights, I can get. I mean, they probably hate hearing this, but look, being a sales trainer, people can go and they can get knowledge and insights. Read a book, go on the internet, LinkedIn,
Absolutely.
arguably. But then it's the judgment of somebody who's done this or who's trained it or who implements this stuff where the value really lies. That's the
Absolutely.
center, that's the right at the heart of the onion, yes?
Yeah, and I want to connect that idea with the idea of AI because just imagine that 20 years ago, if you have problem with the law, you need to call probably a lawyer to ask for help, right? But probably today, if you have the same problem, you go to ChatGPT first, and then you can receive a really good advice probably. So first, a disclaimer: I don't say that people go to ChatGPT. So I just say that right now the thing changed a lot about that, right? So the dependency for external knowledge is less. You don't need it, right? So right now, any company, what you know, all companies can go to ChatGPT or use ChatGPT, and yeah, right, yeah, they don't need you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, if I reflect on this as I make sense of it for myself, my own world, again, it's knowledge. I
Yeah,
talk about implementation, not information. The information is out there, and I'll give the information away. I give tons away.
yes.
Podcasts, 250 of these things. I did a load of solos where I basically went through a sales process and went, this, do it, look, have it. But to really implement, that's where the clever stuff is lying. That's where I think
Mm-hmm.
you're saying. So we then need to have a sales process or the offer and a sales process which gets to that clever stuff right at the core.
Yes, right. So I decided during my research, I decided to make some interviews. So I'm pick some of the large firms, middle firms, and boutique consulting firms in the UK to understand how companies select the sales methodology and understand the factors, the gaps between academia and the real world. And I found three main problems.
Fire
Yeah.
away. Come on, what are the three?
Okay. The first one is mixing things up. I mean, many firms get confused between how they sell, the steps they take, and the style they use. Okay. The second one is decision based on feeling. I mean that in terms of many of these firms just rely on who they know and not and avoid to include or not don't include the some of the factors like academia recommend, like for example the client maturity. And
Yeah.
the third one is the weak sales stories. So they talk about themselves, not the client. So
Oh,
they are the
that one.
three. Yeah.
That's not just knowledge based.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Loads of
Not
people
loads.
do it.
Yeah,
Let,
yeah, yeah.
let,
It's
well,
funny.
that's the last one. That's the last one. Let's go through these in order because I think that probably the order does make sense in this if I'm right.
Yeah,
So you say that they get stuff mixed up. So
yeah.
I think this is where it's like, a methodology, a process, an attitude, an approach, a mindset. It's kind of, whoa, it's all a bit mixy, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you go to Google, write what is a methodology, sales methodology, or sales approach, you can find that many of the authors say that it's basically the same, but it's not the same. If you go to different science like medicine or education, there are clear differentiation between what is an approach and what is a methodology. But I think it's not relevant for the audience because I need the audience, they need to know, they have to know how they sell, what step they take, and the style they use. That's the only thing that they need to know and differentiate. So, for instance, during my interviews, a lot of the companies say that they use consultative selling, right? But they didn't know the limitation of this methodology. Or they say that they didn't use value-based selling. And when they start to depict the sales process, they use element of the value-based selling, right? So what happened here? And it's not boutique consulting firms. That's happening in large firms, right? So it's like a wow, there is a huge gap here. So this is just like a cook a pizza or prepare a pizza. Just grab a bit of everything, okay? Mix the random ingredients without following any recipe. It's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you might follow a very strict recipe, and that's the pizza, and that'd be quite a nice pizza. But there's
Yeah.
sometimes nothing wrong with picking different bits to make
Yeah.
it for your thing. And did you basically say we can get into big discussions about methodology, process, whatever, and you say it doesn't matter, actually. Just that's wasting time. Just be dead clear. They are the things that we do around here that's gonna make a difference in the way that we do stuff. Follow that, use it, let's be consistent, and we'll get to where we want. Because we've
Yeah.
picked those bits, those pizza toppings, because we know it works for us.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
And that becomes our, then you can call it a methodology if you want, or process, or I think when we were talking, I said I use the word framework because it's safer. And it actually, no, but also technically it is a framework because then you can put the different pieces in. So,
Yeah, I think it's better to talk about framework instead of methodology. Methodology
mm,
is more fixed. Framework is more open and help to
yeah.
your sales force to know how to play. It's like a football, okay? It's like you are the DT or the director, and you give the directions, right? But in any case, you go into the field and kick the ball, right? It's more like
Yeah.
you give the just instructions. You know that and your players know that what is the boundaries
Yeah.
of the field. So that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and they can adjust, they can adapt. This is the game plan, this is what we'll do. But sometimes you're going to have to do something a little bit different. You improvise. But
Yeah.
don't keep improvising because then everything will start to fall apart.
Absolutely. There are other things that I want to add about that. Probably if you are the seller, it's not necessary that you understand very deep the difference between approach and methodology or framework. But if you are the manager or the director of head of sales, I think it's mandatory that you know the difference because
Hmm.
I mean, when you talk about approach, you talk about the philosophical way to how you approach to your clients, and it's mandatory or it's recommended that that your peers like the CFO or HR or marketing team know the approach that your team use to position your company in the mind of your clients.
Okay, so testing me, I would say my approach or the approach that I advocate is collaborative selling, where you
Okay,
think like a partner. And then the framework is the value framework, where there are steps to go through to get the right opportunities, the right research, the right conversations, the right solution, and the right outcome.
perfect.
Within those, then there are tactics or there are elements or sub processes that you do to make that thing work.
Right. Brilliant. It's something like that. Yeah, it's exactly.
I think it's
Yeah, yeah.
brilliant. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Probably you read my dissertation.
But
Yeah,
I should get it right. But
yeah.
okay, cool. So this is a mixed up ideas. So yeah, we try to clarify those. So the second thing then, what was the second thing? The second thing
Ooh,
was
yeah.
about
It's about
having the right method, I think you said.
how companies choose the methodology. So academia said a lot of sets of they give you a lot of recommendation. For instance, one of them, most the powerful, is take in consideration the client maturity. Okay, is
Yeah.
what is the level of sophistication of the purchase area, or what is the process of the purchase or the buying process of your client. But I discovered that many of the firms just rely on who they know, who trusts them, or because their boss is pressuring for them to hit the numbers. In some cases, it's more luck than a strategy, right? So they don't take in consideration, especially in knowledge-intensive business services, they don't take in consideration all the receipts that academia recommend, right? For instance, large firms, they struggle because they are the outcomes like a salary bonus are tied to the outcomes of scores. So they don't apply the methodology right because just focus to sell, to sell, to sell, to sell, to sell. The opposite side is the boutique firms, right? They are more client centric. They say they are more client centric, but they don't have any formal process. They say, okay, I have this process, but I trust more in my instincts, in my gut, right? Not in this process. So you see that in the middle companies is in transition between the professionalization. So I think they know how to use they know how to use the methodologies, but not all of them. So at that point, you need to know all of them. No, not because you need to apply all of them. It's because when you have more information, you have more tools to apply. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that struck me actually when you're explaining that was that when you were talking about they're doing the stuff because they want to do this to the customer, to
Mm,
paraphrase a little bit, but you said it's understanding the buying process. How is the customer buying? What are they going through? How can we align with that and how can we guide? I suspect if anybody starts at that point, then they can start to put all the pieces in place, which will make whatever they do better. Is that fair?
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
fair. It's fair. It's fair. It's fair. Put in the center of your decision are your client. Yeah. But sometimes we forgot about that. So
We
this
want
is
to do sales to people. My pipeline, my sales process, the thing that the CRM came with says I do these things. And it's like, well, no, what's your customer trying to do? Get alongside them, guide them along that, because they probably don't really know they're trying to do that. Or they're very expert, they know exactly what they're doing there, and you try and make them do something different, they will respond badly to that.
Mhm.
So either
Yeah,
way, you've got to understand what that's looking like in their world.
absolutely. And this is connect with the third point indeed.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Got it?
about value proposition. Okay. Or weak sales stories. So
Yeah.
they talk about the capabilities, the resources instead of what the client needs. So by definition, the easy way to define a good value proposition need to respond two questions. Okay. What is the problem that you resolve? Very easy. And the second one is how do you resolve?
Yeah.
But when I'm talking with some of these companies, especially the small one, they say that they keep going working on the definition of the value proposition. In the large firms, they say, we have a value proposition, but I'm realized that they focus more in terms of capability and resources. They say we have this legacy, we have these years, we have this new technology, but they don't talk about the client or what problem they resolve. No, they assume like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a huge company, and all of them know me. So yeah. Uh,
But bluntly, it's a proposition. It's not a value
Yeah.
proposition, because the
Yeah.
value piece comes from what the client cares about. Yeah, what they value. Except we talk about we're the biggest, we're the best, we've been around the longest, we've got the most officers, we've invented this thing, we spend so much money on it's we. And you know what? Everyone says the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could change the logo on the slide or change the logo on the website, and it's like they're all exactly the same.
yes, absolutely right. It's exactly the same. And I think there are good advice. There are good piece of advice to just use AI, for instance, right? To put your what just write your value proposition and ask what is the problem I resolve and how I resolve. And if ChatGPT are not able to respond, that it's because probably you are miss something or fail to do it, right? So try to use
I've,
it.
I've, actually, I've used it to extract. I've never actually thought of what problem. I've never asked it that. Oh, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Do I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to? Do I
Yeah,
want to?
but yeah, I think I have two good examples. I want to give these examples. One of them is Volvo, for instance, or they sell trucks. But when you talk about some of the seller, they say that they sell solutions, yeah, solutions, transport solution, something like that. It's more like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
say
They
that
do.
they
Yeah, yeah,
sell
yeah, yeah.
trucks. They say, okay,
Yeah,
we sell this kind of solution. We help companies to move dreams, to move, all of these things. And this is a completely different scope. Okay.
yeah,
Other company, for instance, in Latin America is Kayak. This company sells second-hand cars, but they don't say that they sell cars. They say that, in Mexico, 40% of the cars that are sold uh, probably have this legal problem or illegal problem. Okay, you can buy a car in Facebook Marketplace, and then 2 years later, you realize that probably you have a stolen car. So this is a huge problem. But this company, they focus on, or the value proposition is how to reduce the fraud in Mexico. So yeah, it's completely change the way that they approach to the problems. They say, we help people to avoid the fraud, right?
yeah, yeah,
So that's completely changed. You need to understand the scope.
yeah. The truck world I do know about actually, and I've worked in it, and I will often say to them, specifically to try to really extract the value that they can bring, is like, look, you all sell the same thing, and they hate me, and they go, no, no, no. I said, look, it's just a box on wheels.
Yeah,
It moves things around.
yeah,
I'm trying to get people angry, but no, but tell me, why is it different? Why is it? Oh, because we will. Ah, right. You'll help me get the right thing to reduce the amount of fuel I'm using and to improve my driver retention and to do this because you'll help me pick the right thing for the job. That's what you're doing then.
yeah,
While you're talking about locking wheel nuts and retractable fifth wheels and suspension packs and everything else, everyone can say the same thing.
yeah.
Got to
That
differentiate in the value I care about.
yeah, make a huge difference, right? You don't talk about the color of the truck. You talk about the business problem of your client,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's relevant.
And that's going through a very interesting change phase. You want to get down to Volvo, Renault, Mercedes, MAN, DAF, all of them, and say, hey, look, your world is changing because you're moving to EV, and the people who grasp how to sell that first will do best.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, you talk about EV. I mean, the problem probably is the same, your client need solutions to move things, but EV is just a feature. It's a feature. It's not like it's relevant, but that's how companies use this new technology in order to help the clients to resolve
yeah,
their business
yeah.
problems.
And they need to think about it differently. So the
Yeah,
salesperson needs to have a process which is designed not to go and talk to somebody who knows what they want and says, hey, do you have a truck that has XYZ spec? Because they're expert buyers in that. They need to help people to think about how they're going to adapt into this market where electric vehicles become the norm and it involves operating in a different way.
true.
It's a different sales process. So from what
Mhm.
you're saying there, it's look at what you're selling now. Still a
Yes.
box on wheels, powered a bit differently, but the thinking, the knowledge that you're selling with an EV is way higher than when it's I see that somebody understands.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And the smart folk are picking the new sales process to do that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very cool. So good. Right. What else? You were going to say something. My apologies.
Yeah, I want to say that how to fix. Oh, what I'm during my interviews, of course, I see or I saw some of the good practice as well. So there are three things that the companies can do right now. First one is set rules. I mean, write a playbook or use playbooks. The second is check the customer level or create metrics to measure the client maturity. And the third one is reward the right behavior. So there are three things that you need to think. First is agree a clear starter pack of self practice that everyone follow up. So them isn't improvising all the time. So I mean, all your team need to know the process. It's like you mentioned, it's more like the framework. What is the tool that they have to do the job? What is the process I need to follow, or what can I do, or how to use it? Or so this is relevant for. So one of the other thing is that you need to train your team in different methodologies. Okay, give more tools to do the job. So of course, write. Use books or write playbooks to use it. Right? It's not. That's the problem, especially in the small firms. They not formalize all these insights or all this knowledge. The second is, of course,
Because so let's just explore playbook. So the word comes from sport, doesn't it?
yeah,
Where a team will have a playbook, meaning that if you're a certain place on the pitch, we will run a certain play. And you need certain
absolutely.
skills, certain techniques to be able to do that. And so we all know when we're here, we're going to do that. We go to this play. Right. So we're all running in the same direction. We're all kicking. We're all doing whatever we're doing. And we've trained the things we need to do to be able to do that. Someone's catching it, someone's passing it, someone's kicking it, somebody's doing whatever. So everybody's on the same page, to use that language. If we don't do that, everybody's running around randomly, it's less likely we're all going to run into the right place at the right time to do the right thing. And that's what sales is about, really, isn't it? Right place, right time, right thing. Bang. The
Yeah.
right person. Okay.
Many people say that sell is just an art. Others say it's a kind of science, and others say that it's a kind of engineer discipline. And I say that it's three of them. It's a art, science, and an engineer. So yeah, you need to know that the part
It's a
of the
blend.
art. In the part of the art, you can improvise. You have just not this natural skill, and you use these skills. And that's okay. But you need science. You need to process. You need order the house, and of course, you need this systematic thinking that engineer gives you, to repeat the process, and all the process can have the same pathway.
It's interesting that you said art and you can improvise, and I actually studied improv to
Nice.
again improve my own skills and understand both for sales and for training and everything else. Improv has its playbooks and its rules and its
Yeah,
frameworks and its principles. I was absolutely staggered. There's tons of things to do this thing properly. So even improvisation, to do it well, you follow some certain patterns to make it work better. So hey, if they're doing it, we should probably be doing this in sales.
it's a great example. It's a great example, right? Yeah.
Okay, so set rules, have a playbook, right? What was the second thing you said? It
The
was like
second
checking
is
customer level.
yeah, before selling, figure out how ready the customer is. Are they new and need more help? Are they experienced and want something advanced? That should change how you sell them. So I say that you need to introduce or try to create a matrix in order to measure the client maturity. I say, okay, do you know about how sophisticated is the process of your client? What happens if your client is more transactional and you try to apply a consultative selling methodology. So basically, your client say, "Okay, I don't care. I don't mind all the things that you said." So you need to first read the room, read the
Yeah.
okay. He knows how many options are in the market. So I need to sell value. Okay, you use probably value-based selling. There are other clients that they don't know the problem, and you need to explore the problem with them, right? So you use a different methodology. But first, you need to understand the current status of your client. So probably you can create matrix. I don't say that, okay, this is the receipt. I think every company, every industry have different variables, but your task is identify and put into your matrix that, and then try that your sales team use it. No, it's like a
Yeah.
just probably you can define 3 questions. No, there are
Yeah.
methodologies, for instance, like the band, like budget, authority. Try to include at least some of these questions in your sales process or in the sales methodology.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So complexity and value,
Mhm.
value to you, value to them. So that's some work I did on that because we're probably going to put them into some kind of matrix as to whether we want to go and work with them or not. First
Yeah.
up, if not, we should. So qualification thing, they qualify, push them through a second matrix in. Okay, so how are we going to work with them? Where are they? Where are they on that?
Yeah.
You
There
know
are
what?
two
This
things.
is what procurement people do.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely. And
is
there
it the Kraljek matrix?
project,
Kraljic,
yeah. Yeah.
something like that.
You
Yeah.
know, Fred, there are two things more that I think you need to implement or add to this process. One is identify bias. How your team identify bias. You know, there are this status quo bias, there is this sunk cost
Yeah.
bias, but your
Yeah.
team know how many bias exist, and your team know how to identify this bias in the buyers. So
Yeah.
this is relevant. And the other thing is take in consideration that you don't negotiate with the company, you negotiate with other human being, right?
Mm.
Other person. So you need to understand what is the personal goal of this person. So okay, I'm an analyst and I want to grow up in the company. So how you help this guy to grow in the company? Okay, how you help the boss or how you help the marketing manager or directors to grow in the companies? Because they have a personal achievements. So do you know these personal achievements? That's
Yeah.
the other thing.
We sometimes miss that. We often miss that. We're looking at the logic, the business, the thing. Yeah, what about the person? Well, yeah, what's driving them? Okay,
Business is about persons, right?
isn't it? It is. And
The third one.
the third one, yeah, yeah. Tell me.
Yeah, this is a really good one. Is reward the right behavior. So don't just celebrate who closes a deal the fastest. Also reward people who build trust, create long-term value, and really help customers. So
Yeah,
I use this example. In the interview, I interview one of guy of the big four. I can say that, and he said that okay, I'm struggle with the KPIs because every day we talk about KPIs, the revenues and all of these things. So the problem is the pressure for the KPI. So probably, yeah, okay, he achieved the goals, he overcome the results and all of these things. However, how he built the relationship with the client, probably that's the thing that you need to evaluate. So
yeah,
try to take in consideration other aspect. Try and of course reward this right behavior.
yeah. Even reward disqualification. Yeah,
Yeah,
you took out of the pipeline stuff that wasn't right for us, that we either wouldn't win or it wouldn't be good business. Yeah, or that would just, cause us a problem later. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've been looking at a lot of this recently under the lens of ethical selling. So hey, that's a different story, different podcast altogether. We'll do that another time. So Okay, so this is awesome. So you've kind of given us these kind of three challenges. You've given us some, three kind of things in which we can do to try to fix that. And time has just flown. It really has. Any parting words then before I ask you where people can find you? So we'll do that. But is there any kind of last summary that you'd put in place for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm study sales, but I can say that the sell is not about selling. Indeed, it's more about helping the customer to make smart decisions. So yeah, I think sometimes the role of the sellers is underestimated. So I think the role in of the seller is huge. Of course, it's about how you help people. So and how do you help people to achieve not only business objective, personal ambition as well. So yeah, I think my recommendation is don't stop to study, read, ask, and challenge. Challenge all of the things that happen in your company. Most of the people don't challenge the business process or the sales process, or never say why we use consultative selling. What is the limitation of this process? So yeah, use your critical thinking.
Well, we still got it before AI erodes it from us. Oh no, that's another podcast still. No, but seriously, help customers make smart decisions. That's a pretty cool approach.
Yeah.
And then a way to do that is study, read, challenge. Awesome, Diego. Awesome. So where can people find you? Maybe people are listening to this and thinking, hey, I'd like to talk a bit more. I want to read that dissertation, or can you come and ask me some of these questions to help me think? Where
Yeah,
would they find you?
they can find me on LinkedIn. Accept
Okay.
all of them. Just can say I listen to podcast with Fred, and absolutely. And I every week I share part of my dissertation and my findings. Yeah, of course. I really like to talk with people about sales and the challenge and AI and all of the things. So I'm very glad that people connect with me.
Awesome. Well, we will put a link to your profile into the
Yeah.
show notes so people can find it. But oh, brilliant. Thank you. Muchas gracias por
Fred,
venir.
thank you very much for the invitation again. Yeah, and spend lovely afternoon today. Thank you very much again.
No, my pleasure. It's been very good. Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the collaborative selling scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.